I think you have to kind of really think about it and just understand that life is about balance. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to balance the scale, right?
Do something.
All right, y'all. So this video is titled JD Vance Defends Trump Strategy as Critics Warn of Recession and a Trade War. Okay? Or trade wars. Anyways, so Laura Ingraham sat down with JD Vance to kind of address the elephant in the room. People are worried that we're headed toward a recession, and economists are very concerned. So let's go ahead and get right into it. But before we do, I'm Tamara, and you're watching the Tamara Neely Show. I would like to welcome back all my returning subscribers. And if you're new here, I would like to let you know I'm happy you're here. Did you hear what I said? I said I'm happy you're here. Okay. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. Let's go.
Earlier today, I sat down with Vice President J.D. Vance at the White House. We talked tariffs, immigration, the Democrats' new hero, Mahmoud Khalil. I even got him to react to the reported tension between Elon Musk and Trump's cabinet. And there's so much more. Here's part one of my interview with the Vice President. Mr. Vice President, thank you very much for joining us today. All right, gas prices are down. It looks like inflation is easing a little bit.
Can I just say I love Laura Ingraham's outfits? It's like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if she got a new hair or outfit designer. I don't know what's new with her, but she is. I love the outfits. They have been really on point.
Sure.
But you cannot turn on the television without hearing a business executive speak about the tariffs, the kind of whiplash on the tariffs, and some of the difficulty they're having in making long-term investments and projections because of this uncertainty.
Sure.
What can you do to reassure them that this is all going to settle out?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think the president's been very clear. He wants to impose tariffs on foreign importers because he wants to bring investment and jobs back to the United States of America. So what I'd say to those business leaders is I think the president has actually been quite clear about what he wants to accomplish: build more in the United States of America, invest more in the United States of America, raise wages for workers in the United States of America, and you don't have to pay these tariffs at all. There is, as the president has said, a recognition that we have to accept, which is that, look, Joe Biden left this economy in a disaster. He ran the highest peacetime deficits we've ever had in this country. He left us with a significant debt crisis. And the president has come in and said, look, we have to accomplish a lot of things simultaneously. We have to bring down inflation, which I think we're making some good progress on. We have to actually ensure critical government services like Social Security and the military function for the American people. And we also have to force businesses to invest more, not overseas, not in Chinese workers, but in American workers. And I think we're doing all of those things. Rome wasn't built in a day, of course. This is not going to happen overnight. But I think that both businesses and workers are ultimately going to benefit from President Trump's policies.
But can you rule out the possibility, as Reagan faced in his first term in office, coming off a terrible economic calamity for the country, can you rule out a recession, even a temporary one?
Well, look, I think you never can predict the future, but I think the economy, the fundamentals of the economy are actually quite strong right now. And we'll see how this unfolds, Laura, but I think that by inducing more businesses to invest in American workers, by reshoring some of those critical supply chains, we are going to make this economy stronger over the long haul, and that is the president's ultimate goal. We have to remember, Laura, people forget 5 years ago, of course, we had the COVID crisis. And aside from the public health element of it, what it should have taught us, Laura, is we can't rely on communist China to make all the critical stuff. You had hospitals.
I mean, tell the truth. Tell the truth. Y'all want a quick fix to a problem that the government has put a Band-Aid on for so long. We've got to clean the infection. It's infected. The wound is infected, okay? And so it takes time to really clean it. So let's keep hearing what JD Vance has to say.
didn't have medical supplies. You had businesses, manufacturing businesses that couldn't get core raw materials because China was shut down. What the president is doing is changing 40 years of a failed bipartisan consensus in Washington, D.C. that has sold out American workers and destroyed the underlying economic strength of the United States of America. We're going to rebuild it. It's going to take a little time, but we are going to do it.
Does that include medical device manufacturing, which most of it really went to Canada? So all these great American companies from Minnesota.
Y'all, do y'all hear that? The wind is like super singing right now. I don't know if y'all hear that, but it's really loud. I don't know what's been going on with the weather lately, but it's just been really interesting. And you know, they say that the weather's being controlled by people these days. And people are trying to manipulate the weather. I don't know. Whole nother conversation. I just thought it was really loud. So let's get back on topic.
Midwest shot up there to Canada, lower prices. The companies like it, but American workers lost out. So how long would this transition period be to bring those types of companies, if that's the ultimate goal, back here?
Well, look, I think it's going to take time, right? Some of the stuff, you're already seeing factories that are adding shifts for American workers. That happens immediately. Some factories, it takes 18 months or 2 years to build a new facility. So it really depends industry by industry. But the basic thrust of President Trump's economic policies is if you invest in the United States of America, you're going to be rewarded with lower taxes, lower regulations, lower energy costs. If you want to build a factory in China, that's your right, but you're going to pay
or Canada,
when you try to bring that stuff back
Spain,
in the United States.
Or Italy.
Yeah, and the president made this point actually in the visit with the Prime Minister of Ireland yesterday.
JD Vance is just so well spoken. Okay, so what he just said there was that President Trump has said if you decide to do business here in America, you invest in America, you're not going to suffer the consequences of these tariffs, okay? But if you decide to do business elsewhere, you will suffer the consequences of the tariffs. The reason why economists have concern about this is because the economy includes both imports and exports. So, you know, you want to kind of evaluate how is this going to affect the economy when the economy has traditionally been so reliant on imports, right? So that's why people are concerned about it. I don't think the concerns are illegitimate. I don't think that people shouldn't be concerned about it. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to wonder what is going on. And that's exactly what some people are wondering. And there are people who are doing that in bad faith and people who are doing it in good faith, right?
The European Union has in some ways been the worst on American workers and American industries of anybody. They're imposing ridiculous tariffs. They say that they're our most important ally. And of course, we care about European security, Laura, but they don't treat us like an ally when it comes to economics. They actually hammer American consumers and American workers in the process. The president, you know, the thing that underlies all this, Laura, is of course a defense of the American worker, but a recognition that we're not going to take unfairness anymore. If you're
And see, that's the thing, and this is what I want y'all to think about. Think about the deal that the Ukrainians and President Trump are talking about right now. So the significance of that deal is that it's going to bring in American resources, and it's going to be more of a fair balance, right? Instead of us giving Ukraine things all the time, they're going to be giving us something back. And so countries they thrive off of imports and exports, but there needs to be a healthy balance of both, right? And right now, America is off balance. We're receiving all of these imports and we're not exporting much. The main thing that we have is entertainment, media. And we know that Hollywood has it's burning down. Obviously, Hollywood is a lot of places around the country, right? It's not just in California. But as far as like the production side goes, but still, it looks like our entertainment industry is not on it's kind of shaky right now. They had the walkouts and the strikes and everything. I mean, it's just been crazy. It's just one of our big revenue generators. And then you have to kind of think about it. JD Vance made a really good point earlier when he mentioned, what do you call it? Just goods, that people relied on during COVID that were not available. Think about how we didn't have the toilet paper. We didn't have, the resources that we needed, which a lot of that had to do with supply and demand, right? I don't think the supplier was expecting, was expecting to get such a huge demand during that time. However, it's so important that we do business here so that we have enough resources to where if emergencies happen where we can't rely on a country anymore, we can rely on ourselves. And obviously we know that there are very few countries who are solely like independent and they don't rely on anybody, because there's a reason why we have trade and things like that, because some countries can produce more things. Like, Ukraine produces a lot of wheat, corn, things like that. I mean, they're very known for those things, those resources that we need. So I think you have to kind of really think about it and just understand that life is about balance. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to balance the scale, right?
Do something to us, we're actually going to fight back economically. For the first time in 40 years, we have a president who's standing up for America's people.
Your hometown, Ohio, destroyed. Akron, all these wonderful American cities, totally just kicked to the dirt for decades.
Exactly.
Have y'all heard of the economies of scale? So the economies of scales refers to the cost advantages a company gains by increasing its production volume, leading to lower per unit costs. This occurs because fixed costs are spread over more units, and larger businesses can often negotiate better deals and utilize more efficient technologies. So basically, this is an economy of scale situation. All they're trying to do is they're trying to balance the scale. We want more efficient workers so that we can pay less, right, as a consumer. So just to break that down, just so you understand, why are they participating in this trade war? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? It's all about balancing. Life is a balancing act, and the economy is a very similar, it works in a similar way, okay?
People were told, learn to code, do other things,
yeah.
And now it's going to be a difficult period. How long do you think that transition period will be?
Well, again, Laura, I think it really depends on what kind of industry, what kind of factory that we're talking about. I mean, you're already seeing instantly some factories, especially in the automobile sector, who are announcing they were going to move to Mexico under Joe Biden. Now they're actually building capacity here in the United States. Some factories that are idle part of the time, they're turning on additional shifts. So I think sometimes it's going to take a while. Sometimes it's going to happen immediately. It really is a case-by-case thing. But the underlying trend is invest in America and you're going to do well as a business.
But the whiskey manufacturers, come on, they're screaming today because it looks like the president might slap some retaliatory tariffs on Europe. Europe came back to us and said, oh, no, we're going to hit your whiskey. Trump then says, we're going to up you. It's like a game of chicken here, trade chicken, 200% on champagnes and wines to France. Now, that will destroy the French winemaking business, but they've been really tough on our winemaking industry for years.
Well, that's exactly the point. Look, Europe doesn't have the cards here. As President Trump likes to say, when you have actually penalized American companies and American workers, as the EU has for years, we're actually fighting back for the first time. But, Laura, we have a $1 trillion trade deficit. We absorb
largest
all
ever.
Of the terrible economic policies from all over the world, and the world expects American consumers to foot the bill for their workers and their businesses, and Donald Trump is flipping that on its head. We are not going to do this anymore. We cannot run an economy where Americans borrow, go into debt to buy things that other people make for us. We're going to make it in America. We have to.
There is so...
That's awesome. That's awesome. I want to eventually share this video with you guys, just some of the content from this channel called Last Days, I think it's what it's called. And this prophet, he predicted the first assassination of Trump, or assassination attempt of President Trump. And then he also predicted the tragedies that happened on New Year's Day in New Orleans, and also I believe the other place was Las Vegas. I don't remember exactly. But anyways, this prophet seems to hear from God, I'll let you guys be the judge of his content and, really take it in or take it as you want. But I would like to share, his page with you guys at some point. And he's been talking about how he believes that the Lord has shown him that there are going to be major shortages in grocery stores and in stores. And I mean, we're talking, he said he saw cobwebs on the aisles, the shelves on down the aisles. And so I think that we're living in a very serious time where we do need to make things in America. Okay. And I know some people don't agree with that and they're just like, no, this is hurting us. No, this is actually going to help us because we need more skilled laborers. And that's why President Trump is getting really concerned, and he's also correcting the Department of Education because we need to make sure that our kids are being educated at the highest level. There's no reason why they're living in the greatest place on planet Earth and our scores aren't reflecting that when it comes to reading and writing. We need people who can be innovative, who can be creative, who can think on their feet, who can be the next problem solvers that we're going to need in the future because technology is becoming more advanced. And so we need people who can, one, create this technology, two, really make sure that it's being used correctly and properly, and three, be innovators, to do even more, right? And to do the right thing. And so I just want this conversation to be put in perspective because I think when it comes to the economies of scale, when it comes to just this conversation about tariffs, we have to really think about the big picture here.
Written about Doge, tension, cabinet secretaries, leaks coming out of.
Well, y'all, my Wi-Fi seems to be acting up, so we'll probably either watch the rest of this later or you guys can go watch it yourself on your free time. But anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section. It was so wonderful catching up with y'all. And if you like this video, be sure to subscribe for more content like this. I love you guys and you'll hear from me soon.